Jordan here with Complete Performance, and today I want to take you through another live training to help you better understand where you're at right now, where it is that you're looking to get to, and how do we bridge that gap? How do we take you from point A to point B? And I also want to show you a little bit more about what we do at Complete Performance, how we help take you there so that you can see and decide if Complete Performance is the right coaching space for you, or if another company is right for you, and to help you find the best tools, resources, and products to get you to your end destination. So today is all about a topic that a lot of people debate and a lot of people don't quite understand because words get so easily interchanged. It's fat loss and weight loss. And I want to differentiate between the two so that you know exactly what it is that you are aiming for. So I'm going to go ahead, share my screen, and let's dive right in. All right. So as I said, live training, fat loss versus weight loss. When you are looking to lose weight, you think that you are going for weight loss because that's what's been told for you. You wake up, you see the number on the scale, and you want that number to go down. You look in the mirror and you see that image of yourself looking back at you. And the only thing that you tell yourself is you need to lose weight. You want that to decrease. But is that really what you want? So facts on loss. Let me move myself here so that we can see that a little bit better. Over 80% of adults under 36 admit they could and should be healthier. That means a lot of us feel like we're not taking care of ourselves the way that we should, that there are practices and strategies that we could implement that could lead to not just better fat loss results, weight loss results, but a healthier, more energized life overall. Number two, 49.1% of Americans tried to lose weight in the last 12 months. That's nearly 50% of America. That's a lot of people. There are so many of us. They talk about the obesity epidemic, the weight loss problem America has. There are so many of us trying to lose weight, trying to diet, to restrict our food, to work out more, because we all are looking to lose weight. We're being told certain things, that we should look a certain way, that we should act a certain way, that we should feel a certain way. 49.1% of Americans tried to lose weight. That's almost 50% of our country trying to course correct and get a little bit healthier. Number three, 95% of people fail their diet or weight loss goal or regain it. So that means that of that 50%, those 50% of Americans who tried to lose weight, 95% of those people failed at their diet, failed at their weight loss goal, and regained their weight. Even worse, look at number four. Nearly 2/3 of those who fail gain more weight back. 2/3 of that 95% gain more weight back. And that's where this cycle of restriction, binge, restriction, binge, restriction, binge kind of falls into place. We restrict so hard. We lose the weight, we regain it. We're so frustrated with ourselves that we gained it, that we binge and we gain more. Fat loss, weight loss, obesity in our country, overweightness in our country is huge. It's prevalent. It's a topic that people don't always want to talk about, but clearly we're all working on at home. So let's bring this conversation to the forefront. Let's address fat loss versus weight loss so that we know exactly what it is that we're working towards. So we know exactly what it is that we have to do to get results so that we get the exact results we're looking for. First, there are different types of losses, and I do want to address and help you understand how your weight might fluctuate, how your body fluctuates. And the first one is water loss. This is the most fluctuating form of weight. Think about it. Some days you drink a lot more water. Some days it's really hot and humid, so you sweat a lot. You lose more water. Water loss is the most fluctuating form of weight loss. Sources for water weight gain. There's salt intake. Water and sodium together trap water in the body, so you put more sodium in. Well, that's water and sodium working together a little bit more to hold on to that water. Carbs. No, carbs aren't bad, and carbs get a bad rap. And some people say that this is one of the reasons that carbs should not be consumed, and that's wrong. Carbs are stored, it's carbs that are overly consumed. You can overconsume any macronutrient, any food item out there. But when carbs are overconsumed and they are transformed into glycogen because they're not used right away, that process requires water. In order to convert carbohydrates into the glycogen form, you need water. So if you have way too many excess carbs in your system, you're going to require way more water to convert to glycogen. Menstruation. Now, water weight typically peaks the day before your period. People think that it's period week when that water weight is being held, and it's actually the week prior and maybe the first day or two in it. Cortisol levels. High cortisol drives water retention. And if you've listened or read anything that I've posted before and I've talked about cortisol, cortisol comes from stress. So if you're overly stressed, you are continuing to put out cortisol into your system, which means the more stressed you are, the more cortisol you have, the more water you retain. Travel. Your body moving around throughout your day pushes fluids in and out of the systems. It pushes blood in and out, water, plasma. All pieces in and out are moved based on the muscular contraction. Body movement flushes fluids out of the body. So if you think about it, if you sit in the car for a long road trip, you sit on a plane, it's not the elevation, it's not all these different things that people have suggested for why. It's the simple fact of you're just not moving as much. So if you are traveling, if you're somebody who travels for work, you spend ample amounts of time in the car, move around in the car. Who cares if you sit there and do some curls? You're pumping, you're moving your fluids. Extend your legs in your seat, try to move around, stop more frequently so that you can move the fluids through. Medications. Understand the side effects of the medications you're taking. There are some anxiety and depression medications that require you to retain more water. Birth control is one that requires you to retain more water. So look and make sure that you understand the side effects of the medications that you're taking. Poor circulation, poor return and blood pooling causes you to retain water. And that can come from a variety of things. And the next one you'll see pregnancy, but simply just some people have bad circulation. Some people are born with it. Some people, it happens as we age as well. And poor circulation affects how we retain water. Pregnancy, the pressure places stress on the vessels and weakens return. It generates poor circulation because there's stress being placed on vessels elsewhere in order to develop and create this life. It weakens the return of blood and water and the pumping of that water out of the system. Last but not least, believe it or not, water restriction leads to weight gain. Not drinking water leads to weight gain. Your body has incredible signals to identify when it's in starvation or stress mode. So when you restrict water, your body thinks, oh, I need to hold on to this. I'm not getting enough water. I'm going to pull those water molecules to keep them into the system. The distress signal creates and signifies a release for aldosterone, which helps to hold on to and retain water. So the more water you restrict, I think of, when I worked at a gym for 6-week challenges where we ran challenges, and every day we would tell clients, as you get closer to that weigh-in, restrict your water. Well, what did that actually do? It actually caused an aldosterone release. And if you didn't do it at the right time, your body restricted it so much that it actually caused you to retain and to gain some weight. So be very careful in that water restriction. The best way I say to do it is to drink normal amounts of water every single day. So that 100 ounces to a gallon of water, 100 to 128 ounces, depending on your activity level. And if you do that every day and you continue to lose weight, then you have no concerns about water restriction. Let's talk about losing water weight. How can we do that? You can exercise regularly, get up, move your body. I say even on a non-training day. So like today for me is a non-training day. But what I do, I still get up, I move my body. I do a lot of body weight, light, mobility, activation type of exercises so that I'm still moving my body. No, it's not directly intended at driving water weight loss, but it's intended at keeping my muscles fresh, pumping new fluids into my system, which does also correlate to water weight loss. Manage your stress levels. As I said, high cortisol retains water. So do activities that de-stress you. Meditate, journal, get sleep, eat food, real food, but do things that de-stress you and avoid stressful situations. Get adequate sleep. 7 hours of sleep per night. And you can bank them. Your body does tolerate banking. So if it works because you work an odd schedule where you work 3/12s, maybe it's that you get 6 hours of sleep on the nights that you work and you get 8 hours on the other. But the total needs to be 49 hours per week at the end of the week. Minimize processed food. Processed food is filled with chemicals and electrolytes and nutrients that cause you to retain water. And the digestive process is longer because they're less natural. Your body needs to put it through a more rigorous process for digestion. Therefore, it needs more water to do so. So processed food can cause you to gain weight from water. Consume fibrous, dense foods. Oh, fiber. You need fiber in your digestive tract. But what that also means, and what they should say with that, is that because you need fiber in your digestive tract, you also need water. Because if you only have fiber and your digestive tract is dry as a bone, that fiber is going to have a really hard time moving through. Think of it like scraping the edges of your intestines. That fiber pulls that excess food off of the intestines and helps to drive that weight loss process. And then last is utilize electrolytes, but be careful about the sodium. Now, here's the deal. Everyone talks about watching your sodium because a doctor once said that is what causes heart disease, that's what leads to cardiovascular disease. No, adding salt to your eggs in the morning is not what is causing cardiovascular disease. Adding electrolytes in can actually speed up and boost a lot of processes. Your body needs sodium. So don't completely restrict sodium. But what I would say is if you're adding it to every single plate, then we might need to look at reducing sodium. I add pink Himalayan sea salt to my white rice. And it tastes great. It adds a little bit of flavor to it. And it assures that I get enough sodium, which for me, I started doing that because I was having a lot of issues with body cramping. So utilize electrolytes. They're great for muscular processes, for brain processes, and we need them in our body to function optimally. Now we get to muscle loss. Another way for the body to lose without losing fat. Key topics for discussion. This slide clearly didn't get saved, but we're going to roll with it anyway. Here's the thing with this is that if you are losing muscle, if your goal is to lose weight, you're trying to get healthier and you're losing muscle, you're only hurting yourself. You're only hurting your body's productivity and its overall strength. Because if you restrict calories so tightly, then you're really going to have an issue preserving and keeping that muscle. Your body needs muscle. See what the next slide is. Maybe it's the next one. Kind of. All right, we'll hang out here for a little bit. See, here's the thing. Your muscles are inefficient. It's, believe it or not, we love muscle. We love to build muscle. It helps to lean, tone, define our body. It strengthens our joints. It promotes body movement throughout the day. But what it is not is efficient. It burns a lot of calories, which when you are trying to lose weight is fantastic because the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn throughout the day. The more calories you burn, well, that's better for overall loss. So we'll take it. But if you're seriously restricting calories so far down there If you're in that 1100, 1200 calorie range, for most people, that's way too low. And if you're restricting into that level, then what actually happens is your body goes into serious distress mode. And when it's in that serious distress mode, it tries to eliminate the most inefficient things. And one of the first inefficient things is muscle, because it burns so many calories to maintain. Your body tries to draw you into a lower state of activity, a lower energy level. So you may notice that you're feeling more lethargic, tired, you're less energized. That's one sign that your body's telling you that you're not getting enough. And what it's actually doing, it's trying to shift those muscles down into a lower energy status so that calories are not being burned as rapidly. You don't want to lose muscle. You want that muscle. The other side of that is, if you really want to get into it, is you need to use and activate those muscles. If those muscles are not stressed, if they're not used, because you only walk and run and do rigorous types of cardio, your muscles aren't being utilized and they're not seen as necessary. 1 to 2, if you love cardio, I'm not telling you not to do that. If that's your primary way of training, I'm not saying stop it. But what I am saying is that you need to be sure that you're doing 2, you can maybe get away with 1 longer session of resistance training so that you remind the body that it needs the muscle, that it needs that while it may be inefficient and it may burn a lot of calories, it's necessary. So let's look at some of the lies about muscle building. The first is I'll get too bulky. And I can't stand this one. It just grinds my gears. It just frustrates me that people think that when they work out, when they lift weights, that when they're trying to build muscle, that it leads to bulkiness. Here's the truth: is it doesn't. You have to specifically try to add bulk. If you work with a coach who structures your training program to fit your caloric deficit, to build the lean, strong body that you're looking to build, you will not get bulky. But if you just try to eat whatever you want and to lift weights, then you probably will add bulk because you're unable to pull the fat away from that. So getting too bulky is not a thing. You see, yes, you look at professional athletes, CrossFitters, female fighters. You look at female basketball players, professional athletes who are females. And I use females specifically because most watching this are females. They train for that way. They're training for a sport, for competition. So they're specifically working to build mass, to add mass to them. Maybe not in a way of like trying to get really big bodybuilder style, but because they're burning so much through practice, competition, through their rehab recovery, they need to train in a way and eat in a way that causes them to build muscle, to make up for what is lost through the rest of the parts of their day. I won't lose any weight. Yes, you will. You can still build muscle. If you work in a nutrition plan that is specifically structured in the right calorie deficit with the right amount of protein, the right amount of fat, the right amount of carbs, you will still lose weight and build muscle. The large muscle building programs that people are on, you do need to be in a caloric surplus. But if your goal is to lose weight, tell your coach that. Find a coach who can put you in that plan. Hey, I want to lose some weight. I want to see that number on the scale drop. I want to tone my body. I want to be stronger and build some muscle. How do I do that and still lose weight? Great. Find a coach who can do that. I'm here to help. I know other coaches, if I'm not the fit for you, who can help you. The last lie about muscle building, I gain muscle. You're at this for a couple of weeks, and all of a sudden you step on the scale and you see that the number did not move, or you gained 2 pounds this week. And all of a sudden it becomes, I just gained muscle. I'm getting stronger. So it must be that I'm gaining muscle. Some of the leanest, strongest men don't gain 2 pounds of muscle in a year. So you have to be at a very lean body fat percentage. You have to be, I'm talking like females, you got to be like 12% body fat. And point of reference, I'm about like 18, probably 20% body fat. For men, you need to be in that like 6% range for weight gain to be muscle mass. You also need to make sure that it's in the right percentages in terms of calories, macros. You need to be in a surplus of calories. You need to consume enough protein, enough carbs. So you're probably not gaining muscle. There's probably another reason. You could be mistracking something. Your intensity level of your workouts could be misguided. But work with a coach. If you believe one of these lies, if you really, really want to dig into this, I'd love to have that conversation. Sign up for a free strategy call and we'll spend an hour. I will give you 60 minutes of my time to help make sure that you understand every bit of this process so you know that muscle building is what you want if you want to lose weight, if you want to lose body fat. Now, what you really want. Fat loss or weight loss. That's what you came here for. So forget this water loss. Forget this muscle loss. Let's talk about what you really want. Fat loss is a reduction in your body fat percentage or the total fat stored by your body. Weight loss is a reduction in overall body weight. This includes everything: fat mass, muscle mass, bones, organs, water weight, bowel contents. So technically, like if you were to have an amputation, you lost weight. But everyone looks at this process and thinks, I want to lose weight, I want to lose weight, I want to lose weight. When really, what you think you want is that weight loss. You want to see the number on the scale move down. You step on it, you see that number, you have a picture in your head of what it is that you're trying to achieve, and that is what you want. You want to see that weight loss. But that comes from a number of sources. Like I said, that amputation. You could have an organ removed, right? You could poop, and that is weight loss. But really, and deep down, you know this. You know that those aren't the things that you really want to lose. What really happens and what you really should want is fat loss that leads to weight loss. You're not trying to amputate limbs to lose weight. You're not trying to get rid of organs. You don't want to rely on a poop to determine whether or not you lose weight. You want fat loss that leads to weight loss. Because how do I know? I know this because I've been there. I've looked in the mirror, I've looked at my body, and I've felt hatred toward it. I felt discomfort, and I looked at it and thought that that number on the scale has to go down. But what I've also done is I've tried everything to lose the weight. Cut back on the muscle building, added more cardio, beat myself into the ground, restricted calories like nobody before, because I wanted that number on the scale to move down. But what happened, the lightest I have ever been in my adult life, I stood on the scale and I looked up in the mirror and I was still unhappy because I still didn't have abs. My quads still didn't pop. My shoulders weren't lean and defined like I dreamed and I envisioned that they would. But here's the thing. That's because I lost weight, but I didn't lose the body fat. I pulled muscle mass off. I was so deprived of nutrients and water that no wonder I looked in the mirror and still hated what I saw. And what happened is I regained the weight. I got right back up there. And now I have gone through this process in a much slower fashion, in a much more realistic fashion. And now I'm about 3 to 4 pounds away from the lightest I've ever been. And I'm leaner. My quads stick out more. I don't know if I will ever have abs, but they're there. They are there. My shoulders have definition. My back has definition. And I'm stronger than I've ever been because I've lost body fat. I've done it the right way. So let's talk about how do we do that. It's done through lipolysis, which is the breakdown of fats. And that's done in 2 ways: fat consumption and resistance training. So what they mean by that is that you need to eat fat to burn fat. Your body needs fat for hormones, for neurological processes. It's necessary for the body. So don't think that because you're trying to lose body fat that now you need to stop eating fat. That was a belief for a long time, that if you wanted to lose fat, no more fat consumption. You had to go super low fat diet. It was carbs and proteins and that was it. But that's not the case. You do need it. And then there's resistance training. It's utilizing muscles to pump the right areas of your body, to pull those fats and to use them in training, to pull the carbs, to use them in training, and to utilize the protein to rebuild and to strengthen those muscles to burn more calories. So how do we do that? Really, food quality has to be number one. The caloric deficit decreases the nutrient pool. So the more you restrict your food, right, you're taking less overall nutrients and food in, which means that you need the pool to be stronger. Okay, so you have to put in more veggies, more fruits, to consume higher quality foods to ensure that you're getting the right number of nutrients so that your muscles are supplied, your organs are supplied, your body processes can go on. Because too low of a caloric deficit, eating just Pop-Tarts and crap, you're not going to be fed with the right electrolytes, the right macronutrients, and the right tools for your body to build and to break down the right things. Second thing is you have to eat enough food. Without enough food, your body pulls from its most inefficient parts, muscles. We talked about that already. Muscles are incredibly inefficient. As much as we love them, we stress using them, having them. They're incredibly inefficient. They're always burning muscle. If you get too low into that caloric deficit, it's not pulling from fat cells. Those fat cells are there to like hold on for dear life when we're in starvation. They are there, like you think of a bear in hibernation. You think of our ancestors. They'd go through cold seasons where food is hard to come by. Their body is holding on as tight as they can to those things because it's slower burning. It lasts longer. And we need it. It keeps us warm. It's insulation. So you have to eat enough food so that those muscles are supplied with the right nutrients, so that they're kept, so that we don't finish this process and look in the mirror and feel like I did, like you were skinny fat. Aim for 1/2 pound to 2 pound per loss per week. So many of us, this is such a hard conversation to have with clients, is they step on the scale, I only lost 1/2 pound this week. And to me as a coach, I want to celebrate that. I want to high five you and tell you, way to go, that's awesome. But I hear and I see the body language, I hear the tone of voice, and I know that you're disappointed. But here's the thing, 1/2 pound to 2 pound, that ensures adequate nutrients and it promotes true fat loss. If you lost 1/2 pound for every week of the year, you'd be down 25 pounds. Ish. That would be incredible. We would love that. How many of us wouldn't celebrate being down 25, 26 pounds at the end of the year? Now double that, 2 pounds per week. Man, that's 100 pounds. We would love for that to happen. Yes, we would love quick, easy, fast results. But wouldn't you want to keep those long term? Don't you want to promote true fat loss, true health? Don't you want to sustain this? To live life at this ideal weight? To stand in this mirror every single day? To not hate what you see looking back at you? 1/2 pound to 2 pound per week loss ensures adequate nutrients and it promotes true fat loss. So be okay and think of, add that up long term, 1 pound per week, celebrate it. But I understand that it's such a small number when you feel like the gap is so large. When you have your first week, when you finally get back into things or you start something and you lose 5 pounds in a week. It's disheartening to see 2 weeks later, you only lost 0.7 of a pound. But in reality, that's awesome. Your body is still in a fat loss mode. It's still flushing out things, getting rid of things, burning things so that you can get down 25 plus pounds in a year. Now, eat adequate protein. Protein is an essential nutrient. If you want more information on the value of protein, check out the blogs that I've posted, the videos I've posted. I love my protein. Protein is an essential nutrient to the body and is satiating and holds a high thermic effect of food. So eating more protein means your intestines have to work harder to break it down. So you actually burn more calories by simply eating more protein. So eat protein. What that also does is it reinforces that we need muscle. Helps to rebuild the muscles, goes into that rebuilding process. So you need to eat adequate protein to guarantee that you're going to keep that muscle to stay full longer and to burn more calories overall. Resistance train. It preserves the fat-free mass, reduces body fat, and decreases visceral fat, the icky bad fat. So resistance training, like I talked about earlier, is if you only did cardio and you're in that super high deficit, your body's going to look at the muscle and say, well, I don't really need this to run miles and miles, to bike miles and miles, to swim. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to start to pull the muscle off of the system, and I'm going to get rid of it because we're in a starvation mode. Calories are so low. I'm not being fed enough. So I'm going to remove the most inefficient part. But if you resistance train, and there are some studies to suggest that even one 75-minute session a week can do enough to prevent that fat-free mass loss. So it also reduces body fat by pulling the nutrients away from the fat cells to use them for the recovery process, for the energy process. And then most importantly, it decreases that visceral fat, that fat around the stomach, the chest, the heart, the fat that really gets concerned and related to cardiovascular disease, heart attacks. Last but not least, resistance training has a high EPOC, exercise post-oxygen consumption. So that means that, think of it this way. When you finish running, so last night I ran 4 miles, and when I finish running, it takes me, 5 to 7 minutes and I'm cooled down. My heart rate is brought back to normal. And, I've burned probably 200-ish calories during that run. As soon as my heart rate comes back down to its resting state, that's about it in terms of further caloric burn. I'm really not going to burn more calories after that. But resistance training, those muscles have been broken down. Those muscles need to be repaired, which means the body needs to ship and send nutrients to those muscles to restore them. And that process burns more calories. The recovery process from a resistance training session is longer. And recovery requires caloric burn. So the higher EPOC, preservation of fat-free mass, the reduction in body fat, and the decrease in visceral fat are all huge reasons to follow a resistance training program. Fill up on fiber. Fiber increases fullness. It decreases hunger and protects against weight gain and fat accumulation. So protein is the most satiating nutrient. Fiber is also one that really is satiating. It promotes fullness, keeps your gut full. It kind of packs into your digestive tract to help clear things out, which can help increase that hunger or that fullness feeling and decrease the overall feeling of hunger. It protects against weight gain and fat accumulation because it helps to kind of take out the unnecessary things. It helps to kind of rid yourselves as your body breaks down pieces in a fat loss phase that it does not need. The fiber is responsible for helping to flush that out of the system. Some of the best foods you can see pictured that are high in fiber, some nuts and seeds, broccoli, spinach, kale, corn depends nowadays if it's high fiber, avocado. But again, I've posted some blogs, some videos on fiber. I have resources on fiber. If you're curious about how to up your fiber intake, I'd be more than happy to help if you just reach out. I'll send you some resources. Eat healthy fats. Fat, like protein, is an essential nutrient. You need it for hormone production and function. I have put together an entire blog on fats. Read it, understand it, realize how important fats are. I know it seems counterintuitive that you need to eat fats in order to lose fat, but it's true. Your body, when it's stressed, it needs to produce different hormones to kind of manage and mitigate that stress response. And those hormones are produced in the presence of fat only. So you need to consume enough fats to mitigate that stress response. You need them for the muscle building process, for the recovery, and you need them for a number of day-to-day processes as well. Prioritize recovery. Constant stress leads to constant cortisol release, which encourages fat storage in the abdomen. And if you remember from earlier, it prevents water retention. So constant stress, like we talked about, if you are working 18-hour days, if you are training twice a day, once for powerlifting and once for a 5K, if you are working a few different stressful jobs like coaching teenagers, helping adults through their own fat loss journey, you live a stressful life and you're pretty much emitting a stress response all day long. That's my life, if you guys didn't know that. Prioritizing recovery is something that I myself need to continue to do better at and to work on, because my body it does send many stress signals throughout the day simply by the nature of what I do and what my life looks like, which means that I have higher amounts of cortisol. Part of the issues that I've been battling since I've returned from injury is that my cortisol levels are skyrocketed. Because my body has just kind of been stressed. Then we went into this quarantine where business was shut down. My life looked incredibly different. My body's trying to heal. So my body is stressed. So one of the biggest things that I've been focusing on in trying to finish this cut I've been doing is really to prioritize recovery over the last few weeks, to try to mitigate the stress response, to try to bring my cortisol levels back to a normal range. And in fact, we've even, for the time being, pulled out. We're taking a diet break because it's just my body is in such a stressed state that I need to really overload it with carbs to help bring that stress response down and to bring it back to a place where my body can say, yep, I'm ready to lose a bit more fat here. So enough on my story. You have to find ways to prioritize recovery, journal, sleep, meditate, go for walks, spend time with family, with friends, with pets, do something, a hobby that relaxes you. But know that doesn't necessarily come from sitting on the couch and watching TV. That doesn't come from going for a long bike ride with your spouse. It should be things that are relaxing. It shouldn't be something that really causes that heart to pump hard. Because we want the parasympathetic response. We want the recovery response, the rest and digest signals in the body. LISS training, low intensity, steady state type of training. It's a form of exercise that encourages recovery, one you can multitask with, and one that burns a lot of calories. So prior to this accident, one of the big things that I would do is 3 to 4 sessions of LISS training, which for me was 40 to 45 minute walks, which is perfect because I had a little puppy and to be able to get outside. Yes, it was cold, but bundle up, put a jacket on. But that low intensity, steady state training was great for recovery. I'm nearing a meet, so I need ways to kind of finish this ultimate cut down to this lower weight class. But I also need my body to recover from these hard training sessions. It's something I could be on calls with clients with. I could work on programming. I could listen to podcasts, read books, through Audible. Plenty of ways to multitask. And it's something where I burn 200 to 250 for calories. Something very simple. I know that we think that we always need to be, at our work desk, at our workstation. But you can take calls on the go, especially now that a lot of us right now are learning how to work from home. This is a great opportunity to take some calls, take some things that you can do on the move, and to get up and to move while you do it. The last kind of argument against this is that we have this belief and understanding that in order to lose fat, in order to get healthier, we need to actually be miserable and suffering. You do not need to be in pain. You do not need to suffer. You do not need these things to get results. What you need is to burn calories, and how that happens doesn't always matter. Remember that if you're too stressed, if you are always miserable, if you're always in pain, if you're always suffering, that's a stress response. That's signaling stress signals to the body. And the more of those we have, the more we retain. So be mindful and know that going for a walk might be exactly what your body needs for that day. Hire a coach. Work with someone who studies fat loss, has the experience, and guide you to the perfect next steps. Now, I always say this. Yes, this does seem like a pitch for my coaching products, my coaching services, but I acknowledge that I am not the right coach for everyone. And I want to help you find the right coach. I want to get to know you so that I can use my network of people, my network of coaches who have studied fat loss, who do have the experience, who can perfectly guide you to find the right person. But it starts with a conversation between you and me. So you may know right off the bat that I'm not the right coach for you. Still, reach out and I want to help you find that. But if you're wondering, how do I lose fat? How do I finally look in the mirror and have that same experience that I do, where you look in the mirror and you finally know, like, this is the body that I'm meant to live in, so that you don't stare in that mirror anymore feeling like you're nearing your goal weight and you still hate your body. Because if you are always aiming for weight loss, you will always be chasing a number on the scale, because you'll continue to lose weight. You'll step on the scale, you'll look in the mirror, you hate what you see looking back at you, so you believe that number needs to jump to a lower number. So you push that lower. And then more problems arise because you get to that lower number, you still hate what you see, you're skinny fat. Skin hangs loose, there's no definition, and you move that number down again. So apply for coaching. Start it with a free strategy call. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to have the conversation to share with you how it is that my process can help you acknowledge that we need to make a change, to create the vision for what you're trying to achieve, the life you're trying to live, to educate you on how to live this life, how to go through this process, how to lose fat actually, and then how to put it into play, how to take action, how to apply it to your lifestyle, to the things that you love to do, to the desires that you have, while still meeting the goals that you hope to achieve. The scale matters, but so does how you feel. And if you look at that scale and it says WTF, and you look in the mirror and you say WTF, you got to find a different strategy so that you can step on the scale and you don't feel a WTF down at your feet and up in your face, that you feel confidence, that you feel strength, that you feel you are living in the body that you deserve to live in, the one you want to live in, the one that you can maintain for a long time to come. All right, that is it on fat loss versus weight loss. Like I said, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to have a free call with you, a free meeting with you to discuss what this process looks like for you. How do we make this fit to your lifestyle? How do we promote fat loss? How do we get out of this dieting cycle? And how I, as a coach, can help you, or if I'm not the right one, how I can help you find the right coach. Reach out with questions. You can email me at jordan@completeperformancemn.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Jordan_CP for Complete Performance Coach, Jordan_CP Coach. You can visit www.completeperformanceonline.com, or feel free to reach out on Facebook, either on our Complete Performance LLC page or Jordan Davies. I'd love to talk with you more, and I wish you nothing but the best in this journey. Thanks, guys.